Okay, I apologize. I lied. Real quick, there's something I wanted to talk about. I said I was going to talk about the BYD super mega fast 5 minute chargers. I will get to that. I'm still doing research on that because I want to get all the facts. So for this episode, I want to talk about something just a little bit different. I want to talk about me real quick. This is something that just kind of popped up, and I think it's important to know what my background is. What gives me the right to be giving anybody any advice about anything? Let's get into it. So, yeah, I've been in the mechanical engineering field for 20 years now. I know I don't look it, but yeah, I feel it though. I feel like I'm 93. Um, but yeah, so I've been doing this over 20 years now. November would have been 20 years. And I love the industry. I've worked on everything from cars, trucks, planes, semis, heavy equipment like earth movers and backhoes. Did I say trains already? Anyway, and planes. Planes is actually what got me started in all of this. And then I had to take a step back from that. Um, in my earlier years, my younger years, when I was like 6'2" or 6'3", I tried to join the military, the Air Force specifically, and I've already had a ton of not only simulated flight time, but actual flight time. I'm talking thousands of hours. I was dedicated. And when I went into the recruiting office, they almost laughed me out of the recruiting office and said, "Are you sure that's exactly what you want to do?" And I said, "Yes, sir. I want to be a pilot." Well, so those of you that don't know, there was, I think in 2020, because the numbers were low. In 2020, they did lift it for commercial airliners, I think it is. Now it's like six something else. But back then, for the military, 6'3" was the tallest you could be for a pilot. I don't know what it is now, because it doesn't matter now that I'm 104. Um, but yeah, so that's in a nutshell. That's my background. And um, the older I get, the more I am obsessed with hating sacrificial parts. Sacrificial parts. That's what this video is going to be about. My disdain for sacrificial parts. Sacrificial parts are plenty on any vehicle, for that matter. Uh, for example, a sacrificial part would be the easiest one: tires. Tires, not too bad. That sacrifice is well worth it. They're not hard to change. I can change a tire off the rim using a screwdriver and the weight of the vehicle, if that makes any sense. Um, in an emergency, I know how to pop the bead off of a tire from a rim and actually change the rim and tire on the field somewhere. So that's a good skill to have. I'm gonna possibly teach my kids that too. Anyway, so that's an easy one. Brakes are another thing that's sacrificial. Um, my least favorite thing has got to be transmissions in cars. Those are sacrificial to the point of where cheese and rice. You, as soon as the transmission rolls off the showroom floor or the manufacturing plant, it is already sacrificing metal to metal contact surfaces, clutches, just to get the vehicle moving. Transmissions is probably my least favorite automotive part in history. Transmissions. Oh, oh, transmissions. Those have got to be my least favorite. My least favorite by far, second to timing belts. Transmissions, oh my goodness. Timing belts, the same thing. The benefits of a timing belt are so minuscule, if you even want to call it that, because I have a Dodge Ram with over 350, I think it's like 370,000 miles with a timing chain that, as far as I know, as far as the onboard diagnostic is concerned, it's hasn't stretched enough to cause any type of misfiring or what have you. I drive that truck hard too. Um, I've got that Toyota Highlander with a timing belt, and I've had to change that. Sacrificial parts just irk me to death. Sacrificial anything irks me to death. So I I just wanted to touch on that. Now, where am I going with this? EVs. EVs, for the most part, don't have transmissions. If they do have a transmission, it's not something that is sacrificial, or at least nowhere near as sacrificial as a standard transmission in any gasoline vehicle, even some plug-in hybrids. Let's take Ram, for example. They used to want to put their efforts into an all EV truck. They decided not to go that route. They decided to go with a extended range EV. This is very important because this is assuming that reliability is on the up and up. A range extended truck makes so much more sense than either an EV truck, I'll give it that. I will give it that. Or a standard plug-in hybrid truck. Here's the difference. A, no transmission. No transmission. That's huge. That is one of those sacrificial parts that is just so not necessary. It's 2026. Get these transmissions out of here. Get these sacrificial transmissions out of here. CVTs, sacrificial metal to metal shavings everywhere. That's why you got filters on these things. Fun fact, just real quick, Toyota hybrids, they don't have a transmission. They have what's called a power split device, PSD. They don't have any sacrificial metal to metal contact inside of these power split devices, which means it has a fluid, but the fluid is mostly just for lubrication on the low side, just standard lubrication, and then friction, anti-friction. That's it. So there's no filter. You just drop a plug, let the fluid come out, put the plug back in, get the fill plug. Hopefully you've already taken that out, right? Pro tip, take the fill plug out first, just in case you get wonky with that. You won't have drained all your fluid for nothing. And now you're really up Shites Creek, right? Anyway, so yeah, drain the fluid, and then you put new fluid in until it literally spills out the fill hole. That's how it's full. It's that simple. You do that every 60,000 miles or what have you, and you're golden. The Highlander has two of those, so it's like a front and rear differential, if you will, but it's actually the EV motors. And yeah, Bob's your uncle. Whatever that really means. I say that a lot, and I don't even know where I got that from. I think it's from like a John Candy movie, I think. Anyway, let me know in the comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Moving on. So these extended range EVs, Scout is coming back. Ram is going to be bringing their EREV Ram 1500. The Ford Lightning is going to be not discontinued. I know that's what the media says. It's not discontinued. It's simply evolving, or for some of us, de-evolving to a extended range EV, which will have a gasoline motor, but it's not connected to anything driveline wise. There's no transmission sapping power. There's going to be a small gas engine, a V6. There's a V6 in the Ram. I'm not sure exactly what Ford is going to do for their new Lightning, their EREV Lightning, but it's going to have a small, efficient enough and powerful enough gasoline engine, something they already have. I'm sure it's not. They're not going to bring in a new whatever. It's going to be something they already have. They're going to slap it in the front, so the the frunk is probably going to go away in the Lightning. Yeah, this motor is not connected to anything but a generator. This generator will allow the engine to only turn on to just simply direct charge the EV battery. So the battery is going to be a lot smaller than a full EV truck, obviously a lot bigger than a non-EV truck. That battery is going to have a window of usage. All EV batteries, all batteries for that matter, but specifically all EV batteries have a window of usage, your actual usable kilowatts. So take, for example, the Lightning. My Lightning is 98 kilowatts of usable energy, but it's actually like 117 kilowatts, and that allows for the buffer. And whether it's high end or low end, it's just a buffer. You cannot access that remaining 20 kilowatts or what have you. So with an EREV, that percentage actually gets smaller. You'll only be able to use from, like, let's say 15 or 17%. Let's just throw a random number out there, shall we? 15 or 17% on the low end. So once you reach 15% charge of your extended range EV battery, the gas engine will then automatically turn on and start to charge in real time your EV battery, which in then turn directly feeds the electric motors. That's the only connection that you have to the drivetrain. That's genius. I think that's genius. To eliminate the transmission, like I said, that's my least favorite part. To eliminate the transmission is a huge deal. So there are many benefits to this. A, if you guys are worried about charging times, don't worry about it. Don't charge. On a long road trip, you don't need to charge. You just go to the gas station, fill up your, I believe the Ram's going to have like a 26-gallon tank. Fill that puppy up and then keep going. That simple. Towing a trailer? No problem. Fill it up at the gas station? No problem. So that's the biggest benefit right there. Even though BYD does have a charging infrastructure in China that they're currently utilizing right now that does the 5-minute charging. So whatever. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, once the usable battery kilowattage is used up, that's when the gas engine turns on and starts to generate power. DC charging. It's like having a DC fast charger on board, if you will, but it takes gas. And here's the dream. Here's the idea. Here's the philosophy behind that. During your daily stuff, your work and home and grocery shopping, that's going to be all done theoretically with your EV miles. The Ram EREV, fun fact real quick, even though it's called a 1500, it's actually sitting on like the 2500 platform because all that stuff weighs a lot of pounds. So you got to have the proper suspension and frame and everything else that goes along with having a heavy duty truck. Unfortunately, there was nothing they could do. They had to put it on a heavy duty frame. So even though it's called a 1500, it's sitting on a 2500 frame, or at least 2500 bone structure. So hey, there you go. You can see that by, I'll put up a picture here. You'll see that the bolt pattern, that's very important, just something that you would never think about, but the bolt pattern of this Ram is the 2500 bolt pattern because that's probably the hubs that they're using, which is a good thing. You want heavy duty, you need it. Because that thing can tow 14,000 pounds. I do have another quick video talking about that. It's just one of those things that as it's coming down the pipeline, I'm excited about it. Um, if you really want the best of both worlds, that's the way to go. Honestly, if you do tow every day, day in and day out, you're just towing the EREV trucks. Period. That's what you want to do. The Scout pickup truck, they did things a little bit differently. They have a very tiny gasoline engine, almost a generator, if you will, like almost a generator. I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's going to be like a 4-cylinder from Volkswagen because that's who the big parent company behind Scout is. So I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to look that up. But it's going to have a small, little tiny motor, and it's going to supply the power just like the Ram EREV does. But it's underneath the bed of the truck. So that's different. So you will actually still have the frunk, which is cool. That's if it were my money. I don't know anything about Scout because they're not even a company yet, or they're a company, but they haven't produced a single vehicle yet. If it were my money, I would be seriously considering a Scout. I like the size of it. It's a 4-door pickup truck. It's probably about the size of a Rivian / Gladiator / Ford Ranger, somewhere around there. It's a mid-sized truck. They do have available bench seating, so that's cool for some of those guys out there, including me. I like bench seats. I like being able to sit 3 people across and then 3 people in the back. That's 6. That's huge. I don't know, this trend with trucks, full-size trucks having a center console, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that, honestly, especially since physical linkages of the shifter is gone. Even if you have a column shifter, that column shifter is still just, you're moving a physical shifter, but all it's doing is telling the computer to shift a internal mechanism inside the transmission. So, you know what I'm saying? And the way you can easily tell that if you have a newer truck, and you want to know if you've got an electronic column shifter, just put it in drive, keep your foot on the brake, and then open the driver's door. You'll see the column shifter physically move back up, especially in Fords. So, fun fact. Anyway, yeah, so there are newer technologies coming out. Um, and I think it's worth taking a peek at these new additions that are coming down the pipeline because, like I said, it's the best of both worlds. The point is that there are newer technologies being blended with old technologies to hopefully bridge that gap. I don't want to have range anxiety by just having an EV, and I also don't want to pay gas prices every time the wind blows and it's like $8 or $9 a gallon. There are tons of things that are coming down the pipeline. I'm going to try to keep you guys updated as much as I can. Um, we're going to be sharing some more facts about these vehicles because I'm excited about them. Like I said, I don't like sacrificial maintenance items. So the drivetrain is EV, but you got a backup generator on board that's ready to go as long as you got gas in the tank. I I have no notes for that type of setup. If you're the type of person that does your daily commutes using all electric, in that whole week of driving, you're not using any gas. And then, hey, let's go up to the cabin. All right, let's do it. Let's hook up the travel trailer to the back of the truck and let's take it with us because the Ram E-Rev can tow 14,000 pounds. And it's got like a payload of like 2,500 pounds. Payload being the amount that the truck itself on its own four wheels can handle, which includes people. So, fun fact. So, if you got a buttload of people and a buttload of stuff in the bed, and then you got a 12,700 pound trailer in the back, I figured you wouldn't want to go exactly 14,000 pounds. So, let's just say 12,000, which is a very large travel trailer, by the way. The Ram E-Rev can tow that. Just so you know, I'm unclear on the numbers for the Lightning just yet, and I don't know what the Scout numbers are. I believe they're around. I think it's around 11,000, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, these trucks are not here to play. I mean, they can play, but they are here to work, and on paper, they do work. It's literally the best of both worlds because you also have onboard power that allows you to plug into things like your appliances or even your whole home, which is another video. Shout out to the commenter that said that. I'm going to be making a list of all the vehicles that have what's called vehicle to home charging. Generally, vehicle to home or V2H. Uh, if you have that capability, you should be able to at least attain an adapter to allow you to do vehicle to vehicle charging, literally one EV to the other, kind of like giving somebody a gas can, but charging. You'll have that capability, and then you'll have vehicle to load, V2L, which is just anything that's not a house or a car. Appliances like saws. Yeah, I'm going to be making a list, and then we're also going to be talking about the BYD superchargers or mega chargers or whatever. Seahorse. Seahorse. That's my co-host. You got anything you want to say? No. All right. Well, that's it for this one, guys. This video is already like super long. I apologize. Got a lot to say and not a lot of time to say it, right? All right. We're going to have a good time and we're going to look good doing it, right? Yeah, we are. Okay. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.